Shalom. Have you counted the Omer today? Counting the Omer is a commandment given to us in Leviticus 23 from the day of the resurrection on the 16th of Nisan. We are supposed to count the Omer 7 weeks and 1 day, which is 50 days, which leads us to the festival, the Moed of Shavuot, called in English Pentecost. Every year I make good resolutions to count the Omer faithfully, and sometimes I fail. Our lives are so busy. But this year I'm using a little app that I found on the Chabad.org website called an Omer counter, and it's downloaded on my phone. And every evening, as I sit down with dinner with my wife, together we count the Omer by saying the traditional blessings. And here are the traditional blessings. It starts with Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe. Asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav, who has sanctified us or set us apart through his commandment. Al sfirat ha-omer, concerning the counting of the Omer. So to do the commandment is what sanctifies us. To have this commandment separates us from the rest of the world. That means we are sanctified. That's what it means to be sanctified, to be separate, set apart for the Master's purposes. Now, the counting for today, which I said last night, was Hayom Shavua Asar Yom. No, sorry. Hayom Shiva Asar Yom. Today is the 17th day. Shehem Shnei Shvuot, which constitute 2 weeks. V'shlisha Yamim leOmer, and 3 days of the Omer. And then there is a last blessing, which is there is more, of course. There's always more, but this is the minimum. But this last blessing is interesting. I don't know who decided all that, but I thought there was quite an insight in it, because it says, Harachaman hu yachzir lanu avodat bet hamikdash limkomo b'mahera b'yaminu amen selah. And what this means, may the great merciful one, the compassionate one, return unto us the work and the worship of the temple in its own place, speedily and in our days. Amen, Selah. Now, I think this is quite interesting, because the counting of the Omer takes us to Shavuot, Pentecost, the day when the disciples who were gathered in Jerusalem, the place of the temple, received the Shekhinah, the Spirit, within themselves, and embodied, in a certain sense, the temple within their own bodies. Because this is the role of the temple. The temple is really a building to encase to receive the Shekhinah, to receive the Spirit. And this is the fulfillment of what we read a few weeks ago in the Parasha, where it says, if you build me a tabernacle, I will come and live among them. But the Hebrew says betocham, which can be translated as among them or within them. So the second part of this word betocham has been fulfilled on the day of Pentecost, when even our own bodies at certain times are compared to the temple of the Spirit, since it does the same thing as the temple does by housing the Spirit of God. Hope this was interesting. Have a joyous time counting the Omer.